Hello all. Wow, this is like a little cozy group here, isn't it? So, you know, it's funny that, I mean, this is mostly young for any of us that are over 35, right? You know, it seems when we pick our pictures, we pick pictures as we get younger and younger and younger. We don't like pictures of ourselves now. So my name's Rory, and I enjoy your city. I enjoy coming here. I'm from Vancouver in Canada. And what my job is I used to do a lot of games, and where what we've got is we've got a group that really kind of takes that knowledge, and we're really kind of driving real-time 3D into industry. And I'll spend a couple minutes here talking about how I think that applies. And then during today, there's some brilliant people talking about that more in depth. So welcome. So when we think of this, we really think, I kind of like this slide because it really talks to me about the passion that all of us in Unity have about driving value, not only in the gaming market, but then how can we drive that even farther? And it really kind of comes down to this idea of we take a game engine, and then how do we then use that game engine to kind of apply it beyond gaming? And it's really this, when we think of digital twin. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about digital twin here for a couple minutes. And digital twin isn't new. I mean, Korean industry has been driving digital twin probably a lot longer than Canada. We just have mountains and bears in Canada. I don't think we even have any industry. So when we think about digital twin, we've really kind of been doing digital twin for a long time. But there's innovation in digital twin. So we know that digital twin, when we look at it, there's 2D, right? We think of games in 2D. Games haven't been 2D for a long time. They were when I was doing games. Remember, I'm 35, right? So as we kind of think of evolving that digital twin, how does real-time 3D help? And we're going to spend some time talking about that. But first, when we think, you know, let's review what digital twin is. So digital twin for me is really the virtualization of a process. So we think of all of our industry. It doesn't matter if you're designing a watch, doesn't matter if you're designing a car or a TV, or you're a mall where you're shopping. By the way, I was late because I was shopping next door. Sorry about that. When you think of that is when you bring data together, that disparate data, and you combine that, that is where digital twin started, right? So it's this idea of getting value out of our process and being able to see that in a different way. Once again, Korea has been pretty amazing at driving innovation in digital twin. Whether we look at time series graphs out of IoT data on PLCs, that's really kind of been driving that innovation and value. When we think of, you know, how can we get more out of our invested capital, we really knew that digital twin was driving that. So when we think about real-time 3D, it's really this idea about taking that data and then putting it live. So for me, that's the exciting part. So I think of it in three parts. So first, it's live. So we had 2D, we have disparate data, we have a virtualization, but they're all disparate processes. Real-time 3D, and this is where the game engines come in, is really bringing that together into one live process. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But for me, it's real-time 3D, bringing more and more data together, making it a narrative in that 3D, and then being able to push it to any of our phones. I mean, I think all of us hate that in a company. I've had companies where you have to have special devices, and they all seem to be very expensive. Wouldn't it be nice if we can just use our phone for our workers to train them just on what they bring into the office? So when we think about, it's funny, I was looking at my timer and it's going down. That's how now I was like, oh my gosh, have I been talking for an hour? So when we think of it, so we think, okay, real-time 3D, how does that apply? So how do we take it? Because all of us, when we look at our data, when we look at our processes, they're very disparate, right? So they're quite complex. How do you possibly bring it all together? Well, you don't. I don't think you do. I think what you do, and I'm taking liberty on the PLM, so that's a product lifecycle management. So, but I'm up here, so I get to take liberty. But I think of it as when we, right from ideation of anything, and it could be a factory, could be a watch, could be a shoe, could be a mall in construction, and we put that through the process all the way to the end point. That end point could be consumers. It's one pipeline, and the challenge we have in industry is there's multiple pipelines. We have to redo that asset. I did visual effects for a long time, and a flame for that movie, when marketing wanted to use that flame, they usually didn't have access to that model. They had to recreate that model, in some cases for hundreds of thousands of dollars. We see that all the time in our process. So it's really this idea of starting to take chunks, taking that data, and allowing that real-time asset to be live through the whole process. So then we think, okay, how do we do that? Well, we start right at the basic. It's the data. Most of our data is really ugly. It's kind of like closets, right? Trying to find something in your closet. You've got tons of closets. How do you find it? And that's really the data. Data in our industry can be disparate. It can be timed wrong. It's all over the place. And so the first trick is really bringing that data. And that data, in this case, in a sense, from a watch on the screen, is really the parts that make up watches, right? How do we see that model? How do we inventory that model? And how do we bring that model together into that process? Once we have that, we can bring more and more of that together. We end up being a connected twin, right? So, right, we move from a single process on, say, a watch or a tractor or a car, to suddenly now we've got an HMI. Where in the design process, it's all one process, and we can see it, and it's live, right? In a factory, we're not only walking around that factory, there's a valve broken, and your factories are really big. So how do you find that broken valve? Well, it's all live, so I've got a wave finder, right? So I can actually go, and then when I'm at that broken valve, my phone will actually show me how to fix it. What's wrong with it? What's the model? So it's all connected together. Then eventually we get, and you're going to hear in a couple minutes some pretty amazing things on AI that Unity's doing, is we really get into this idea then of simulating. What is the optimization and simulation? You can't really do that until you kind of have the first two. So these are just examples of what we're doing or what we think about when we think of kind of real time in industry. So one of the things that I think about is, we have a group, and we have a global group that is developing. So what we do is my team develops these repeatable solutions. We're doing it kind of all over the world. What's exciting for me is the growth in APAC and the growth in Korea. The innovation that comes out of Korea is amazing. You're farther ahead. And it's really what I do is I get very excited about how quickly you will grasp the idea of real-time 3D. So we're pretty excited to grow with you and really start to bring out some of these ideas. One last slide there. So luckily I've kind of rushed through this one, but I'm sure there's other people that will actually be long, so it all comes together, right, into one single thing. So for me, I wanted to, thank you for having me. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a great day today in all the different presentations. Either fortunately, unfortunately, you'll see me a few times. And so talking about some different things. But right now, what I'd love to do is introduce two leading companies that are playing a pioneering role in the market. So thank you very much.
반갑습니다.
It's a
먼저
pleasure
이런
to
멋진
meet with
자리에
you.
초대해
First
준
of all,
유니티에 감사
I would like
인사를
to thank
드리겠습니다.
Unity for inviting me to
저는
this
LG Uplus에서
amazing
근무하고
event.
있고요.
I work for LG
메타버스를 포함한
Uplus
웹3
and
관련된 비즈니스
I work
디벨롭을
with
맡고
business
있습니다.
development for
제가
Web3
오늘
and the
여러분께 말씀드리고
metaverse.
싶은 것은
Today, I would like to talk about
유니티와 기술 파트너십을 맺고
our partnership
유니티의
with
리얼타임 3D
Unity
엔진 기반으로
and
공간을
using
디지털화를
Unity's
통해서 공간
real-time
확장이라는
3D
새로운 디지털 경험을
to provide a new
시도하기
digital
위해서 저희가 여러
experience
가지 테스트하고
in an
있는 것들을
extended virtual
유스케이스를 좀
reality.
공유해 드리고자
I'm
합니다.
going to share with you what we have been testing and some
사실
of the use
유니티하고의
cases.
기술 협력은
In fact,
2019년으로
partnership with
거슬러
Unity
올라갑니다.
started in 2019.
2019년 당시 세계
In
최초 5G
2019,
상용화와 함께 그에 걸맞는
With the
새로운
first
고객 경험을
commercialization
시장에
of
제시하고
5G in
싶었습니다.
the market, we
아시다시피
wanted to
통신
provide
인프라의
new
발전은 새로운
experiences to
서비스의
customers.
실현과 다양한
With
비즈니스의 기회들을
the development of
창출해냈습니다.
telecommunication
3G와
network, we
LTE를
could
통해서
advance
모바일
new
인터넷의
experience and
대중화와
services.
그리고
We
고용량
could
멀티미디어
make
콘텐츠를
the mobile
스트리밍으로 제공할 수
internet
있는 환경이
mainstream, and we
제공되면서
were able
다양한
to
서비스들이
stream
실현되었고
a lot
이에
of
따른
data
비즈니스
in real
기회들도 많이
time,
창출되었습니다.
leading to a lot of new business
5G
opportunities.
상용화는 무거웠던 3D
The
콘텐츠를
commercialization of
스트리밍으로 제공할 수 있는
5G
인프라 환경이
enabled us with a new
제공됨으로써
infrastructure to
저희는
stream
공간을 디지털화를 통해서
3D
새로운
information
비즈니스
that
기회가
was
열릴
heavy.
것으로
So
봤고
we
LG
viewed that there would
Uplus도
be a new business
2019년
opportunity
XR의
using
시작을
spaces,
알렸습니다.
and that's why we began with the XR
서비스 구현을
business in
위해서는
LG.
유니티와의 기술 협력은 필수적이었습니다.
Unity's partnership was essential
이를
in
통해서
implementing our
저희는
services.
가상으로 고객들이 좋아하는
We were
스타들과
now
1인칭
able
시점으로
to
데이트할 수 있는
enable
경험을
we were
제공할 수
able to
있었고
enable
그리고
customers
볼륨 매트릭
to
콘텐츠 제작
interact
기술과
with their
융합을
favorite
해서
celebrities
내방에서
one-on-one,
좋아하는 K-pop
and the
아티스트를
customers were now
360도
able to
돌려가면서
look at
퍼포먼스를
their
감상할 수
artist,
있는
their favorite
새로운 미디어
artist,
시청
in
경험을
a
고객들한테 제시할 수
360
있었습니다.
degrees view. So it
또한
was a completely
아이들한테는
new viewing
상상력을
experience.
자극하면서
And for children, we were able
생생한
to
책 읽기의 경험들을 제공할 수
stimulate
있었습니다.
their imagination by providing immersive fairy
공간의
tales.
디지털화는 메타버스로
The
진화하고 있습니다.
digitalization of space
공간이라는
has
것은
been
여러
evolving
사람을
into the
모이게 한다는
metaverse.
특징을 가지고 있습니다.
A special
그래서
feature of space
메타버스에서는
is
다양한 사람들이
gathering a
모이게
lot
되고
of people at the
거기에서
same time.
소통을 하게 되고
As such, in the
함께 일하게
metaverse, a
되고
lot of people
함께
get
학습할 수
together,
있는
communicate, and
고객들이
learn,
세상을
as well
경험하는
as work
새로운
together.
방식을 제시할 수 있는 잠재력을
So
갖고
it
있다고
has
보고
the
있습니다.
potential to provide new ways of connecting with
LG
people.
플러스는 유니티의 3D 리얼타임 3D 엔진
LG
기반으로
Uplus,
공간을
based on
디지털화해서
the real-time 3D
공간 확장이라는
Unity
가치를
engine,
활용해서
extended the space
고객들이 일상생활에서
provide
자주
new
쓰는
value
인터랙티브한 라이프
with
스타일
interactive
플랫폼을 만들고자
lifestyle
합니다.
platform for
그 일환으로
customers.
저희가 업무용
In line with
메타버스인
this,
메타슬랩과
we developed the
그리고 체험
MetaSlab,
학습용
a metaverse for
체험 학습용
co-work,
메타버스
and
키스토피아를
Kidstopia,
시장에
an
공개했고 지금
AI-powered
마켓 테스트를
metaverse
진행하고
for
있습니다.
kids. They have been
오플러스는
introduced in the
성공하는
market
서비스를
and
만들기
is
위해서 애자일
under a
방법론을
market test.
채택했는데요.
So we
저희가
use
빠르게
the
가설 기반으로
agile
시제품을
methodology.
만들고 그
So
시제품을
we
고객들한테 테스트를
prototype
받고 그
fast,
피드백을
go
기반으로
under a user
프로덕트를
test,
업그레이드하는
and based on the
전략을
feedback,
구사하고
we
있습니다.
refine our
이런 전략을
product.
구사하는 데 있어서
In
부족한 개발자를
implementing
채용한다든가
the
사내
strategy,
교육 프로그램을
hiring new
운영한다든가
developers,
그리고
or
외부
running a
개발자
training program
발굴하는 데
in-house,
있어서
or
유니티와의 기술
identifying
협력은 매우 유효하게
new
작동했습니다.
talents in the market
그럼 저희가
was
실험하고
possible
있는
thanks to
유스 케이스에
cooperation
대해서
with Unity.
영상과 함께
Now let me show
소개해드리도록
you a short
하겠습니다.
video of our use case.
첫 번째 유스 케이스입니다.
This is our first use case.
같은 공간에서
So
함께
in the
일한다는
same
것은
space,
매우 긍정적이죠.
working together provides
소속감도
a
생기고
positive feeling.
그리고
You get a
구성원들하고
sense
소통의
of
제약도 없다 보니까
inclusion
생산성도 높아지죠.
and
그래서 저희는
unity
이런
as well as
co-presence의
solidarity,
가치를
raising
기반으로 세
productivity.
가지 가설을
So
검증하고
based on
싶었습니다.
the value
첫
of
번째 가설은
co-presence, we wanted to
그는
test
요즘
three
많이
different
쓰고 있는 기존
assumptions.
2D 화상
The first
서비스
assumption
대비
was
이게
that
확실히 뾰족하게
the
차별화가 있을 것입니다.
2D
두 번째는
online
물리적인 사무실 환경에처럼
conference
구성원들이
web
함께
could
일한다는
be
느낌을
turned
진짜
into 3D,
받고
and we wanted
소통의
to see
빈도도
whether
올라갈
the
것입니다.
people, the
그리고
users,
세
could really
번째는
feel
엔데믹으로 전환되었기
that they are
때문에
together in this
이게
one
온오프
space
믹스를
and
하이브리드 형태로
show
제공했을 때
an
이게
increased
확실히
level of
고객들도
productivity.
서비스의
And
유효성을
in
느낄
the
수
hybrid
있을까? 이
meeting, we wanted
실험을
to see
가설을 한번
whether
검증하고
customers
싶었습니다.
really felt the
고객의
value of
반응은
the
매우
service.
긍정적입니다.
And we gained positive
오프라인에서의
feedback.
미팅은 매우 수직적이고 경직된
Offline
분위기입니다.
meetings
오늘도
are
약간
very
그런 분위기가 있는데요.
tense
이
and
메타슬랩에서의
rigid.
타운홀 미팅은
And the town hall meetings in the metaverse were horizontal.
분위기가 아주 캐주얼한 분위기를 연출하는
And
효과가
it
있습니다.
became a very
또한
casual meeting where
아바타로
everyone
구성원들과
could
같은
pitch
공간에
in.
있다라는 착각을
And
주면서
using the
현실감이
avatar,
있다라는
everyone
것들에
could
대한
feel that they are
공격받는 적이
together, so it
그리고
felt
이전에
real.
온오프라인 믹스 행사를 보게 되면
And when you
온라인으로
look at
참여한
hybrid
사람들은 거의
events in the
소외감을 많이
past,
느낍니다.
it has a
그런데
lot of
메타
online
설립에서의
participants
하이브리드
feeling
형태의
left out.
타운홀에 참여하신
But
분들은 전혀
the
소외감 없이
town hall
행사에
meeting
참여하고
in the
한것 같은
metaverse
느낌을
had
받았다고 합니다.
everyone partake in the meeting, feeling as a part of the
저희는
event.
가상에서의 인터랙션 말고 현실과 가상 간의 인터랙션도 좀
We
확장하고
wanted to
싶은
expand
욕심이 생겼습니다.
new interaction
그래서
between physical
발표자와
and the
청중
virtual
간의
world.
인터랙티브에 초점을
So we
맞췄습니다.
focused on the
그래서
interactivity
발표자는
between the
별도의 제작
presenter and
없이
the audience.
본인의
The
노트북의
presenter,
웹캠을
without any
기반으로
other
본인
control, can,
발표자의
based
표정과
on
제스처를 그대로 아바타에
his
수영을 해서
webcam
청중들한테
on the
전달하고
laptop, can
청중들의
provide his
반응들을
presentation
화면에서 볼 수
and
있도록
also
저희가
facial
이런 서비스를
expressions
실험을 하고
to
있습니다.
the
기술 완성도를
viewers.
좀 높여서
And the
메타
viewers
셀렉
are able
타운홀에
to
적용할
watch this
계획입니다.
in one screen, and this will be refined and applied to our
세 번째는
metaverse town hall
AI
meeting.
기술을 접목한
The third
사례입니다.
case
영상 한번
is
보시죠.
human-like conversation with AI
Welcome to
NPC. Let's
Kidstopia.
watch the video.
Who are you?
I'm a pocket bear named Yuppie.
What can you do for me?
I can show you all the fun places to visit in Kidstopia.
It's a great way to learn new words and have a blast at the same time.
How old are you? I'm not sure how old I am, but I feel like a kid forever. How do you feel today? Wow. I'm feeling super surprised today.
영상에서 봤다시피
So
생성형
as
AI를
you've seen
AI
in the
캐릭터에
video,
페르소나를 설정할 수
this is a
있어요.
character based on generative AI, so it has a certain persona. So it could be a tour guide in Kidstopia or an English tutor. Of course, we gained a lot of positive feedback from our customers. So one feedback said my kid's private tutor recommended the app and it was much better than what I expected. And a high school student saw his brother using it and used it to practice his English speech.
영어 유치원을 보내는 학부모님이
And one parent said,
집에 갔을 때는
my
한국말만
kid
쓰게
goes
되는데
to
이거
an
영어
English
모드로 전환해서
kindergarten
영어를 쓸 수
but
있는
only
기회를 줄수
speaks
있어서
in
굉장히
Korean
유용했다고
at home,
보기
and this
바랍니다.
app helped him use English
두 번째는
at home as well.
마지막 유스 케이스인데요.
And this is our last use case.
친구들과 함께 놀면서 학습하는 경험을
So we wanted to provide experiences where you
그래서
can learn while playing with
키스토피아에서
friends.
보게 되면
In Kidstopia, you can meet with your
그리고
friends
낚시 체험도 할 수
and you
있어요.
can go fishing
그리고 낚시 체험에 따라 보감도 얻고
and you can
가고 싶은
collect
동물원도
animals and visit the zoo
그리고 공룡 월드도 가서
and
공룡도
also
체험할 수
the
있어요.
dinosaur world.
단순히 공룡을 보는 것이
You
아니라
don't just
관련
look at the
정보도
dinosaur, you can read information about dinosaurs and also solve quizzes to gain rewards.
아이들이 또 무척 좋아하는 아바타 꾸미기
Kids love this design your avatar feature.
저희가 알파 세대를 타겟한 이유는
So we targeted the alpha generation because they're very familiar with meeting with friends in the metaverse. I believe the true value of the metaverse will be felt with the generation after the alpha generation. And it's important that we provide education opportunities, thinking of the parents, but in fact, when you want to learn something, you have to enroll in something and wait in the line. And we wanted to resolve this pain point as well, using the virtual world. So we gained positive feedback from customers saying that this app is good for my child without any inappropriate content, it helps them study. Even a kindergarten teacher said that it was the best among kids' apps. So through open beta version, we have been trying to launch in Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, and Brunei. So we are running the open beta version in these countries, and you can download on Android or iOS.
끝으로 저희는 고객 경험
Before
혁신을 위해서
closing, to
Unity
innovate
APAC
customer
Industry
experiences, we
Summit
use the
AI
real-time
그리고
3D
웹3
and generative AI and Web3 technology to
다시
engage
한번
in more
멋진 자리에
tests.
초대해 준
Again, thank you
유니티에
for inviting me,
경청해 주셔서
and thank you for
감사합니다.
listening.
Good morning. My name is Joseph Jung, the head of the Hyundai Motor Group Innovation Center in Singapore, in short, HMGICS. First of all, thank you for inviting me as a keynote speaker to the meaningful Unity APAC Industry Summit in Korea for the first time. HMGICS is the Hyundai Motor Group's first global innovation base and testbed to innovate advanced technologies and lead the future mobility paradigm shift. Across the entire value chain from manufacturing, sales, and the customer experience, HMGICS develops very new business models, provides personalized mobility, and research demonstrate develop an intelligent manufacturing platform based on cutting-edge smart technology such as AI, metaverse, digital twin, and robotics. With these innovations, we build a future intelligent manufacturing platform and ultimately improve customer value by providing differentiated mobility solutions optimized for customers. HMGICS has formed a strategic partnership with Unity, a leader in industrial metaverse technology, in early 2022. We are collaborating on various initiatives with the goal of achieving meta-factory-based autonomous production operation that synchronize the virtual and the real world. This partnership goes beyond being a simple solution provider for building 3D virtual factories, but HMGICS envisioned to grow together with Unity through synergy between automotive domain and industrial metaverse technology as a game changer for manufacturing innovation. In the current automotive industry, there is a rapid and profound transformation underway. Companies are facing significant challenges, such as reduced demand due to the sharing economy, lowered entry barriers due to electrification, and increased manufacturing complexity to meet personalized production demand. To grow as a future smart mobility solution leader, by providing a variety of smart mobility desired by customers in a timely manner amid these changes, it is essential to transform into a customer-centric smart manufacturing by building a meta factory that can flexibly respond to increasing complexity in real time to maximize the advancement and the efficiency of the actual factory operations. To preemptively address these challenges, HMGICS has established our three-step roadmap and is advancing manufacturing innovation based on the Meta Factory. The first step is visualization and analysis. In this phase, operational data generated on the production site is intuitively monitored in real time through data connections with the 3D virtual factory, and it drives optimal operation conditions by collecting and analyzing historical data. The next stage is simulation and optimization. In this phase, the virtual environment and the simulator installed in the first step are connected and integrated to access and anticipate future optimal production conditions in advance. The final stage is automation and orchestration. This stage performs autonomous decision making and control over optimal production conditions in virtual space where real-time data is synchronized in real time. Production steps interact with the system information required for production through AL and VL, and all robots are centrally controlled in an optimized manner. Through this roadmap, we plan to successfully build Meta Factory, a digital virtual factory based on the metaverse and advanced smart factory operation. Currently, HMGICS and Unity have successfully completed the first stage of the building 3D virtual factory and achieving real-time synchronization and our production facilities. These represent a rare endeavor in the automotive industry in recent years. Although we have encountered numerous technical challenges, it has been overcome with continuous active communication and dedicated support from Unity, including a series of the workshops across Singapore and Vancouver. These initial outcomes are successfully and continuously monitored in real time by HMGICS DCC, Digital Control Center, through 3D virtual environment and various UX and UIs, successfully being used to extract insight for production optimization. In the future, HMGICS plan to develop its achievement into the autonomous production driven by data. One of the important goals of the future Meta Factory, which established the 3D integrated simulation environment and evaluate and derive optimal production operation conditions in virtual real time. Through this, in the near future, we anticipate being able to preemptively forecast and diagnose issues monitored by virtual factory remotely and to control in real time the optimal movement path of the mobile robot and operation of the assembly robot through virtual simulation in multi-vehicle production scenario. By deploying various simulation use cases, we expect to be able to create meaningful business impact for improved productivity and optimize the operating costs. We will keep closely going through various challenges with Unity to fulfill this impact, and by achieving these milestones, ultimately we believe we will be able to finally achieve autonomous production operation based on Meta Factory. We think innovation is not about waiting, but about constant challenges. We will actively carry out future challenges together to fulfill the vision of future manufacturing innovation that Unity and HMGICS synthesize with together through the world-class Meta Factory by actively solving future challenges together. Through this endeavor, we believe we can ultimately achieve better customer-centered manufacturing value chain innovation. Looking forward to exploring the future together. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nico, and I'm the Director of AI Research at Unity. I've been working on machine learning, so AI research and applications for about 15 years now, and focusing specifically on generative AI for the past 18 months. And I'm here today to share with you how we are bringing AI to market in a way that can help creators, and that's you, unleash their full potential. At Unity, we believe in the power of creators to embrace AI because we believe the world is a better place with more creators in it. And today, the Unity editor and the Unity engine enable millions of creators to bring their vision to life and billions of users to enjoy that vision, right? So from games to aerospace, from healthcare to automotive and beyond, Unity is the leading comprehensive platform that can support creators through the entire development lifecycle as they create, they run, and they grow interactive and immersive experiences. And so to AI, AI can help industrial developers be more productive and more creative while remaining fully in control of their vision. It offers new creative possibilities, right? Changing how customers interact with your experiences by embedding AI models directly into the runtime, such that content can react and respond to your users in novel ways. Here are a few examples that my teams are specifically working on. The first one is asset generation, of course. At creation time, AI can be used to create content such as 2D and 3D assets, of course, sounds, simulation logic, simulation code, particle effects, and so on. Now, at runtime, AI can be used to power novel interactions with digital avatars to enable natural conversations with your product, your building, or your simulation. And another one is computer vision. Vision models have been making incredible progress for years, and by integrating them directly into the Unity runtime, we're allowing mixed reality applications to gather feedback from the world they're in. But beyond this, perhaps the most important thing to take away from this talk today is this. For industry and any real-time 3D experience, everything, every product, every system, every object, every material, every shader, every moment, every pixel, right, is going to be touched by AI as it is made. There's no creative tool, there's no creative workflow that is not going to be fundamentally changed by AI systems. If you're editing dialogue, if you're editing sound effects, or if you're laying down terrain, AI will be part of your workflow very deeply. And similarly, every product, system, object, material, shader, pixel, moment, right, is going to be touched by AI on the way out at runtime, the point in time when the application is running on your device of choice. And each frame running through the engine will be touched. Sometimes it's at the entire screen level, right? We have devs and customers talking to us, for example, about using AI to run their day-night cycle instead of having to build unique lighting and assets. And sometimes it's at the object level, right? Like an AI-driven digital avatar that can respond in real time to your actions, for example. And so that is why we have launched earlier this summer 2 fundamental platforms that can stretch across both of these stages. Muse is our platform for AI at creation time, and Sentis is our platform for AI at runtime. Our approach to AI is essentially building a layer that is accessible to our creators for anything that we do across the Unity ecosystem. I want to talk about Muse first. Unity Muse offers AI solutions to accelerate how 2D and 3D content is created for games, for apps, for digital twins, and more. It consists of tools that interact with the Unity editor and with the web, such that developers can create assets and animations faster without interrupting their workflows. We've released Muse Chat, which we'll talk about in a moment, and also there'll be 2 sessions later dedicated to the Muse ecosystem. But first, here's a quick video that collects some of the components we've been working on within the Muse platform. And I think you'll quickly understand how Muse in action is a game changer, no pun intended, in how digital content will be created. Pretty cool, right? And of course, these tools go well beyond games. If you want to adjust lighting in your apartment viewer, if you want to create waves in your naval simulator, or if you just want to add interactivity to your static assets, you can do it with Muse. We're enabling our creators to do more, to do it faster, and to do it more efficiently. Now let's take a look at Unity Sentis, which is a very exciting initiative. Sentis is a cross-platform inference, that is execution engine that helps deploy AI models in any Unity project. Here's an easy way to think about this. Centis allows our creators to deliver the most interactive, the most dynamic experiences without the need to worry about compatibility, cloud compute costs, and latency. It's a piece of our software, it's a library that ships with every Unity experience, currently on more than 4 billion devices worldwide, and allows for any AI model to be queried directly on the device, which has a direct impact on cost, latency, and of course, privacy. With Centis, we're meeting AI developers where they are and where they work, so our users can keep designing neural networks, AI models, using frameworks such as TensorFlow and PyTorch, and then we import these assets, these neural networks, through the standard ONNX format, and then we optimize the architecture, we optimize the weights using a set of platform-specific transpilers to target a particular runtime depending on the device where the network needs to run. And so we can get a bit technical, but what this means is that no matter which hardware target you have, and even if you're trying to deploy your application on every platform out there, you'll be able to run neural networks, AI models with Centis without having to worry about, optimizing low-level deep learning code or operators. And so that makes the integration of AI into real-time 3D applications super streamlined and much easier for developers. Think about this. These are a few examples. This means that creators can now train or import AI capabilities directly into their Unity projects, whether it's real-time style transfer, object detection, handwriting recognition, or a dialogue assistant. You name it, right? The possibilities are endless. And I want to show you an example I really love, which is something my team built in collaboration with our professional artistry folks to breathe sentient life into 3D experiences. Let me introduce you to Orb.
Hello there.
Greetings.
What's your name?
My name is Orb. I'm an extraterrestrial visitor who has come to Earth to study and understand humans.
What hairstyles would you choose if you had hair?
If I had hair, I would probably go for a messy bun or ponytail. I like how they look on other people and I think they're easy to maintain.
What's the secret to life?
The secret to life is to find something you love to do and do it every day.
Pretty cool, right? So Orb here is better animated, better rendered than most AAA characters out there, and is dynamically brought to life by AI. Nothing about this is scripted. There are no canned conversations, no canned animations. Everything is generated in real time, delivered at over 30 frames per second on a single GPU, right? And the best thing is, it's out there. If you want to play with it later, just go and talk to Orb. Talk about anything, really. So while your next virtual event may not require a talking alien, right? You can generate with Centis a compelling and human digital assistant trained on your own language models to answer any questions your customers may have on your newest product line. I'd like to conclude this very brief overview, we'll have more later in the track one, with this statement. We are living in a golden age of creativity. AI is not going to replace creative jobs. It's going to change them. In fact, it's changing how we work, how we shop, how we meet people, how we make decisions, right? And for our creators, that means more creation, simpler creation, and an easier access to better 3D experiences. AI is going to be everywhere, right? Increasing the quality of the content that would otherwise be generic and automating repetitive tasks. And all in all, that means a higher productivity and a higher quality of the output for our creators. And that is very exciting. So that's a very quick overview of what Unity is doing with AI. And a bit later, so in track one, Martina and I will give you a deeper look into what we can do with AI specifically for industry use cases. But until then, if you'd like to learn more, if you'd like to play with some of our AI tools, visit us at unity.com/AI. We can't wait to see what you create. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm the advocate leader for APEC, Vanz Kim. I am here to talk about the possibilities of Unity XR. As all of you know, VR, AR, and MR all create alternative realities or help us view the world closer or in a completely new way. And we call these technology extended reality, in short XR. And as you know, Unity is at the forefront of XR, as we provide development tools that support the largest number of platforms first, and even new devices in the market. And recently, PSVR 2, MetaQuest 3, and Apple Vision Pro were some of the notable new devices for which we introduced optimized development tools. VR technology that enables such realistic scenes have evolved over decades. But it was exactly 10 years ago in 2013 when Palmer Luckey introduced Oculus DK1 that VR started to become mainstream. So these devices played an important role. And AR technology had been researched a lot in the labs, but it was the games like IKEA Plays that helped AR gain public interest. So until now, we had to use smart devices or other devices, but we are now able to use these experiences very easily. So these trends have been continuing for a long time for a clear reason. Unlike the reality around us, the world inside your display was two-dimensional, and the keyboard and mouse are old devices, not the ones designed for three-dimensional interaction. We had to train ourselves to use compute in the display, and that's how we were able to analyze and understand documents. But on the right, you can see Ford using XR devices to design their vehicles, and you can see that the reality is reproduced to enhance the design process. So, compared to the flat screen, these devices provide a clear benefit. So these evolution continue to change the way we work. And in the past, we have been communicating based on text and documents, but that led to a lot of misunderstanding. And when you try to write a good text or a book, or to understand that, you needed training for literacy and study a lot. To overcome these limitations, we pursued a sharing of information through visual mediums such as videos or computers, but they are based on the flat display as well and flat spaces. It's all two-dimensional, needing a lot of interpretation. But as you see on the right, we now have an increasing number of technology that allows us to interact in real time, changing the way we communicate and connect with each other, which is an obvious trend. These two-dimensional flat screens, keyboard, mouse rendered a lot of discomfort, and the industry has been working a lot to overcome these inconveniences. For example, Vernict provides a training program for the industry made with Unity. Compared to using a manual, here you can actually view the working space and understand what you need to control. So it's much easier than reading a manual and much more accurate. But still, the problem is that the headsets, the head-mount displays are not mainstream yet. So you need to use the XR contents while you hold something on your hand. So I think this is because we are in a transition period. And there are new technologies to overcome this transition period. For example, a Finnish XR device developer, Vario, worked with Unity to develop this technology that visualizes precise 3D data in real space and enables interaction without using your hands. Your hands are free to interact with the inner space of the vehicle. However, Vario's technology has been designed for high-resolution images, so it's mostly being used by businesses. But I'm excited to see what would happen if such examples continue to make technology mainstream so that even students and everyone at home could use it. So why have these technologies to be mainstream? Of course, there are issues such as motion sickness, the weight, discomfort, and resistance because your eyes are covered. But that's why these head-mount displays were used for specific purposes, not in a very popularized way. To solve this issue, we have a lot of businesses developing technology. Let's take the example of Meta. In 2016, Meta acquired a company called Oculus and launched Rift CV1 and Quest 2. That was a big hit in the market in 2020, and it will launch Quest 3 next week. And these issues that I've mentioned, such as motion sickness, are being resolved to a great extent. Comparing to 2016, it's much more convenient, comfortable, and the experience is much more immersive. This success was possible because MetaQuest was a standalone device. You could enjoy XR content without any other devices. That's why it was able to secure more than 70% market share after launch. There's another obstacle for us to use XR contents in our daily lives. I think this applies more to content developers. A lot of APIs, SDK, and device features were fragmented. So we needed something, a solution that could integrate all of this and enable development. Unity, for a long time, has been using the AR Foundation or XR Interaction Toolkit to enable contents to be applied with XR technology. So through this technology, now users are able to create XR and MR experiences very easily. So we are continuously upgrading the XR Interaction Toolkit, and I used to be an artist, and even I can create the XR environment very easily now with this technology. I think this will create a lot of value for creators. So based on this effort, we were able to overcome the inconveniences of existing tools that we were used to. And now we are providing alternatives that allows you to interact with the real world. This effort has been made by an ecosystem. It's becoming a major trend in the industry, and next year I believe you will be able to see a lot more XR content and technology. I don't know if you remember this video. It was 7 years ago that this was released by a leading company of AR glass called Magic Leap. It showed the possibility of AR. So let's watch the video.
네, 이 비전
So this video presented a vision. So it showed a whale moving in this arena. So a lot of companies, including Unity, have made efforts to make this possible, this video possible, and I think we're very close to that future. The MR experience now is being provided at a relatively affordable price with much easier to use devices. But still, some believe that we're quite distant from that future. So here I want to quote Alan Watts, a British philosopher, before I conclude. He said, "The only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance." Because just like introducing a film with text, it's very hard to have people understand the value of XR. If you just read the review or a data sheet, it's hard to fully understand the possibility of XR. You need to put your hands on it and experience it. And it's important that you try building a content with it. On the right is a downloadable background scene that you can download on Unity Asset Store. If you apply XR Toolkit, you can actually walk around this environment by using a head-mount display and interact with the object inside it. So when I started to take interest in XR, it was because I wanted to create my own world and wanted to interact with that world by using XR. And I saw the value that was differentiated from the 2D flat environment and the subsequent benefits. I hope you could also have that experience and gain more insight on XR, and I hope XR could help you in your work and daily life. With this, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Hello again. I know you're all thinking, darn, that Canadian again. But I brought a friend with me, Alex. So Alex runs our studio in Japan, so our industry studio doing some pretty amazing things. What we thought we would do is now go, it was brilliant to kind of look at Unity XR broadly, look at XR broadly. And we thought we would actually do kind of a couple minutes of showing how we think of XR in the industrial space and a little bit of what we're doing. So when we imagine, here, I'll move that. So when we think of different examples, so we know Unity, we know from an XR perspective, gaming, entertainment, those are pretty easy use cases to think about what we do with them. But from an industrial perspective, I actually think it's actually got faster use cases for the use of XR, the use of VR. If we think of, whether it is a way to view a process, it's to view a product, and then collaborate on that, and we'll get into that one a little bit more. But first, what I wanted to do is get Alex is going to talk about kind of just the steps that he thinks about when developing from an XR perspective.
Thanks,
There you
Rory.
go. You're welcome.
Hi, everybody. It's great to be here today. I'm sure many of you have not had the chance to actually touch the Apple Vision Pro. So first of all, I'd like to kind of describe, using this slide, some of the different application types that we can actually create for the device. So if we look up on the board behind me, start on the left-hand side, we have the more traditional 2D applications, and as we move to the right, we kind of increase the immersion. So we call this like the spectrum of immersion, if you will. So I'm going to try and step through these one by one, and if you kind of bear with me and kind of come with me on the explanation, I'll try and describe each one in turn. So we'll start with 2D applications. So if you imagine, for example, you've got an iPad application that you've developed with Unity. On the Apple Vision Pro, you'd actually see that in 3D space in front of you, and there's a floating window. Now, on the Apple Vision Pro, you don't actually have tracked controllers like you would with like a HTC Vive or an Oculus Quest. You use your hands or your eyes to interact with the device. So I think that's quite unique with the Apple Vision Pro, that they've decided to use the primary input mechanism as your hands and your eyes. So moving on to the second image, again, it's a plane floating in front of you, but this time the actual plane, the rendering contents of the plane has stereoscopic rendering. So if you've ever been to a movie theater watching a 3D movie with glasses, or perhaps you have a TV at home that has a 3D mode, it's the same concept, but you have that 3D rendering in front of you on a 2D plane. So this would be great for watching 3D movies on the Apple Vision Pro. Now the third image takes that one step further and actually adds 3D elements around the 2D plane. So the example we have here is a football game, and we have 3D scoreboard rendered as a 3D object around the plane with the score and extra information to give you updates about the match. And the fourth image up here is a new concept for the Apple Vision Pro. We actually have, if you can bear with me with the explanation, if you can imagine in front of me a cube, a 3D cube about 1 meter in size. And within that cube, we have a 3D application. So let's say, for example, we have a smart city, a small city environment. And to my left, we have another 3D cube with a BIM viewer of a city, for example, and another one here of a building. So this is essentially the Apple Vision Pro's equivalent of multitasking. You can have multiple applications running, each in a cube, and you can move these cubes around and kind of set up your workspace depending on your use case. And moving on to the right-hand side, we have fully immersive. So this would be typically a single application running on the Apple Vision Pro. This could be a fully VR application. So for example, if you're porting a HTC Vive application, a Quest application that would be completely CG, that would be run in fully immersive mode. Or if you want to take advantage of the mixed reality features like pass-through, that would also be supported. And in the pass-through mode, you'd be mixing the physical space and obviously the virtual objects as well. So in terms of building these applications, obviously the Apple Vision Pro is not released yet, but the good news is you can actually start to build these applications today with Unity. So in terms of the windowed applications that I mentioned on the left-hand side of the slide before, we have already released Unity 2022 LTS version, which includes visionOS as a build target with experimental support. So those, if you have a 2D application, for example, you've already built for iPad, you can install the 2022 LTS version, just enable the visionOS as a build target, and it will compile for visionOS. And you can actually test this with the Xcode visionOS emulator, so you can see what it would look like on the Vision Pro. For the fully immersive VR applications, so again, if you have, for example, a HTC Vive application, a Quest application you'd like to port over to the Vision Pro, we have the visionOS XR plugin. This is in a closed beta program. If you go to our website, there's details about how to sign up for that. And you can port those applications over to the Vision Pro. So this would be a 100% CG rendered application, no pass-through. And of course, on the Vive and the Quest, typically the applications use tracked controllers, so you'd have to consider how to port those over to use your hands and the eye tracking instead. And in the case of a mixed reality application, supporting pass-through, eye tracking, the extra features that we have on the Apple Vision Pro, we've actually developed a brand new solution called Unity PolySpatial. So this enables you to build applications that are native for the Apple Vision Pro, And in this case, they contain a Unity runtime that handles the simulation, so the gameplay logic, physics, and asset data. But the input, the AR data, the application data is actually handled by Reality Kit on the Apple side. And what this does, it allows you to take full advantage of all of the features of the Apple Vision Pro, but obviously you can still author this application in the Unity editor, which you're already familiar with. So I'm going to hand back to Rory now. You're going to take us through some industry use cases and some examples of what we can do in mixed reality, I think.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Or I hope so, anyway. So when we think of that, so when we think of the application, so when we think about, when you're thinking, you know, as Alex said, you've got multiple apps running. For us in our group, what we're doing is we believe that this is a variation of our viewer. So we think that the big part of that XR experience is really this idea of view, collaborate, iterate, and approve, right? So you're all in the space, you're viewing the asset, you're viewing the information about the asset, it's multi-app, and you're seeing it go through its process. So what I thought I would do is I just run through some examples in the different industries that we're plugging this view idea, this iterate, this collaborate. So everything for us is really about collaboration. So we believe that as we start to think about real-time 3D industry and we think about XR, it's really about a collaborative, creative process. So we think of the auto industry. We saw earlier Volvo. We saw the idea of creating a auto. Well, if you have your XR, you have your headset, you've got the design on one, you've got what people are saying on another app. So now the experience becomes immersive. When we think of designing products, it's the same idea. We're seeing teams all over the world as they start creating products. The biggest problem they have is really this idea of collaboration. So I can see my model, I can see the parts of the model, and we can start talking about it. You know, I designed my new Nike shoe, but I'm going to change the color of that live. So we can see the change and we can see what's going to go into that. The big one, the two next ones for me, it really kind of brings out, and some of it really kind of goes to what Nico was talking about from an AI perspective. And we really kind of bring together this idea of imagine, okay, I've got my tractor, but I've also in the next app, I've got my virtual salesperson that's actually running on Sentis and Muse. They're running the animation, they're running AI, they sound real. They're telling me about that tractor. They're telling me not only, okay, now I've bought it, now that same character can actually train me and teach me how to use it. And the big one also for us is really this idea of construction. And all of us know construction starts at a certain budget and then usually pretty much in the next day goes way over budget. And then when you get into kind of walking around and building, a lot of that has to do with the construction. So your electrician or your steel worker or whatever it is, they don't actually have a connection to the model or the CAD model. So you think of running an app. So I'm walking around, I've got my headset, I've got the CAD model in the one app, I've got the detail of that, what's happening, the wiring harness in the next app. So we actually very quickly can start to see, oh, okay, I'm not cutting that wall down. Or, oh, I want the wiring harness to go here because other things are going on. So, and then finally for me is really this idea of training, this idea of the collaboration around things like surgery, right? So I've got a problem heart, I want to bring the model up, and then I want to start to move and talk about that with doctors around the world. So mostly that was for us, that was a thank you for listening to us. We hope that you have a great time today. Any number of us are going to talk about different things that we're doing more specifically in industries, and we really enjoy the opportunity to do that. And also thanks for having us in Korea and in Seoul, and have a good time today.